Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming, for getting interested in what I consider is the future of the technology. And of course, thank you guys for inviting me. We hear today about Bitcoin from many different perspectives, but there's one in special that is the one that I like. And is that Bitcoin was the missing piece in the creation of the internet. So we have now this technology, and this is bringing so many developers to build on top of that. And they create applications that we all love inside Bitcoin because they show to the world the use cases of this technology, what is possible to do right now. All these applications and new platforms, they use micropayments as the core concept, which makes possible new business models, most of them yet to discover. The thing is, building on top of Bitcoin and being a developer right now, it really sucks. And this is something that I experienced with my team, a couple of years ago when we started trying to build something on top of Bitcoin. And the thing is, there's no really made products that you can just integrate and build on top of that. You have to build everything from scratch, or you have tools that already exist but are too complicated and require a lot of domain-specific knowledge. So right now, for how is the ecosystem, there are two principal components that you can choose to build on top of Bitcoin. One are the buttons, which are like tools that you can integrate in the web browsers, and you can trigger payments just like pressing a button or swapping a button. We think that they are cool. They work great as a paywall, but they are limited because they are just focused on the web browsers. And of course, we have many platforms more than just web browsers. And also, we have toolkits and open source protocols. All these tools give you more flexibility because they are tools that you can integrate in the backend, so you can build anything on top of that and connect to that. But they are too complicated, and they require a lot of time. So we came up with a third way to create apps on top of Bitcoin, and this new way is HandCash Connect. HandCash Connect is a way to build apps on top of Bitcoin, which is fast, but at the same time is flexible. So you can build anything on top. HandCash Connect is the first Bitcoin SDK to create apps. And I want to compare like the different things we have right now in the market. In vertical, we have how much you can customize the user interface. And in horizontal, we have the time savings that they give to you. So the buttons, even that they save you some time, because these buttons are connected to different wallets that already exist, so they are saving you some time. But we think they are still too restricted to the things that you can build and the things that you can imagine on top of that. And also, they still require like quite a lot of knowledge in Bitcoin, so it's also time-consuming. And then we have the toolkits and open source protocols and all this kind of alternative, which are more flexible because they work in the backend, but they require a lot of time and a lot of knowledge that you have to learn. And also, developers have to be dealing with this thing of, they don't give you a wallet. So you have to create your own wallet, create everything from scratch from yourself, and you have to decide if you want to be a custodial service or a non-custodial service. If you want to be a custodial service, you have to go through all the regulation process, which is expensive and time-consuming. And if you don't want to be custodial and you want to give the private keys to all the users that you have, it's an approach that doesn't scale. First of all, because the average human is not ready to be exporting private keys. We have to assume that. And also imagine that you're connected to 20 or 30 different services where you have to export your own private keys. I think this is crazy. So we didn't want it to be any of those things. We want it to be exactly the opposite. Something that is fast, but at the same time that is flexible to design anything you want. We are talking here about almost a 90 shorter time to market in some cases, depending on the things that you are building. And how is that possible? Where we've been learning from everything that is being built on top of Bitcoin, and we identified 6 different components that every Bitcoin app is using right now. Beyond payments, that is like what everyone knows about Bitcoin, there are many more things that you can do on top of that. And also, for all these amazing features, we have the compromise to make it easy for any developer in the world, so that you don't have to be spending 6 months or 3 months or I don't know how much to be learning how to make a simple transaction to send money from A to B. We want to make it everything simple in just one line of code. So we've been working like for a few months to make sure that we can summarize all these amazing features of Bitcoin in just a few code snippets. So we see this as like playing with Legos. You have different components that are very simple, like you have instant payments, you have you can store data on chain, you can encrypt data, you have identities, so you can combine all of them and build anything that you want, because there's no limits in the things that you can build. Our SDK is connected to is our core component right now in the infrastructure and the ecosystem that we are building. It's something that is not visible for the users, but it's amazing. It's what we call HandCash Cloud. And this infrastructure is the same infrastructure that any developer integrating HandCash Connect will be using. It's an infrastructure that is right now serving tens of thousands of users every day, so you know that it is scaled from day one. And also it's something that we are constantly improving almost in a daily basis. So you can take advantage of that, of course. Then what I actually mean by there's no limit, or you can customize the UI, is that you can integrate Bitcoin in any platform, in absolutely any platform. It's not just the web browser, it's not even native apps, which is really cool. But if we are talking here about the future of the technology, we can leave things like virtual reality or IoT. So all these things are possible with HandCash Connect. Also, of course, I mentioned that before, but HandCash Connect is being designed from the beginning to be non-custodial. So when you want to integrate all these solutions, you don't have to be custodial, and you don't have to be going through all this regulation process and responsibility, because we want you to just focus on creating your business or creating your app. And then, actually, everything is about the new business models. Everything that we are doing here is about discovering the new business models, solving problems that we already have with the internet. So we are very used inside Bitcoin right now to have what we call the pay-per action. It's like you click something or you do something and you pay to someone. That's very basic. But there are bigger things that we still have to explore and have to discover. So now you can do things like you can deliver content. It can be video, it can be music, and you can charge people for every second or for every minute. You can also provide things like a Wi-Fi service when you charge people for every second, every minute, for kilobyte of data, for megabyte of data. And also there are things like, imagine when you're trying to read an article or a newspaper online. You open a website, and then you have 2,000 pop-ups and banners everywhere, and you can even read because you have to be closing everything. And I don't want to blame these platforms. I mean, it's the way that they found to monetize their content, because there's nothing better than that. But now we have an alternative to that, because you can create things like you can pay per article, but you can also create micro-subscriptions. So it's like you pay to have access to the platform for one day, for a few hours. So we have now an alternative that we have to explore. And of course, we have things like automatic rewards. You can be with your laptop, with your mobile, you can be doing something that is useful for some other networks and getting paid for it. And also there's something that is really interesting, and is where the data component of Bitcoin comes up. So I have diabetes type 1, and I'm constantly being monitored. Like my glucose is constantly being monitored. So I have a smartwatch. If anything is wrong, like right now, I hope no. I have an alert. But what is interesting is that all this data that I'm collecting, it can be useful for someone else. It can be useful for researchers. It can be useful for pharmaceutical companies. And I can provide this data and getting paid for it. So the takeaway for what we are offering here is we want you, developers of the world, we want you to focus on doing what you do the best, that is creating the best app experiences that you can, on discovering new business models, and we do the rest. We take part of the Bitcoin component and all of these complexities. So the roadmap for this is we are now in the pre-launch program. We are working closely with some applications right now, and we are still like polishing and finishing to implement some of the features. And it will be public for any developer in the world in spring this year. So Bitcoin for the rest of us. This is being the claim of HandCash, both externally and internally inside the team, to make understand which is our vision of Bitcoin. We want to make things easy, and we want to empower people with this amazing technology, which is amazing, but it's at the same time it's actually complex. So, someone has to, take the responsibility and try to make things easier. And this is what we think is our place in this world. Right now, for the feedback that we've been collecting with the teams we've worked in, developers are loving Connect. I just want to check out just quickly some of the opinions that they have for now. This is Dagen. This is one of the guy behind Baymail. Baymail is an alternative to the actual to the current email that we have right now. He's trying a different approach to get rid of this problem that we have with email right now, which is of course spam, creating economic incentives to, it's just, we see all these things like it's an experiment to explore alternatives to the things that are not working right now on the internet. So what he says is basically that if he has to be like getting all these open source libraries and doing everything by himself, it could slow him down probably for a full quarter. Then another opinion for Symfonaut. He's an amazing guy. He's building like many different stuff. I think right now he's working on a social media application integrating micropayments. And what I want to highlight from here is that he knows and he understands how HandCash Connect allows developers and businesses to focus on what they do the best. So there's another concept that I consider is really important to share with you. That is, right now, not everyone has Bitcoin. It's going to happen someday, but it's not right now. It's not today. So if you are creating something, new technology that is integrating Bitcoin, you want to reach the users that already have Bitcoin because they are the ones that can use your product. So one of the products that we already have, for the products that we are now in the ecosystem right now, is the HandCash wallet. So HandCash wallet is the easiest wallet to use right now. The way to explain it is a Bitcoin wallet that you can recommend. You can recommend it to your friends. You can recommend it to your family because it's something that is really easy to use and doesn't require, to understand about Bitcoin addresses and Bitcoin script and all these kind of things. So at the moment that you launch something built using HandCash Connect, you are going to reach all our users. And as I said, they have Bitcoin, so they can use your app from the day one. But also, I can promise you that these guys are the most enthusiastic users that one can have. So they are always willing to test new technology, create new products, to test all this innovation. I like the prototype of early adopter. So this is our people. So we are going to do that using what we call the app gallery. So all the users in HandCash can just take a look to which is available inside the ecosystem. It's quite similar to the concept of app stores, when you can, get the description of the apps, get a few screenshots, and understand what this app or services can do for you. And the process to connect your wallet to any of these services is really simple. You just have to check out the description of the app, and at any time, you just tap connect. The app will ask you for your permission, so you can give this application permission to spend money for you, to get access to your identity, depending on the permissions that your app needs. And then you just press connect, and done. You are inside the app. It's just that simple. Of course, at any time, if you want to disconnect for some reason, and also something that we consider it's really important is to have metrics about what these apps is doing for you. If it's helping you to earn money, or if you are spending so much money on that. So we want to control, and at the same time, we want to highlight that you are making money with some of these apps in this new economy. This is another, again, another opinion from Symphonal. But what he wants to remark is that for him, it's really important to be able to reach the kind of users that HandCash has, and to do it from the day one. So we already have a large collection of applications that are working with Connect to get integrated. Some of them want to make it public, some others not. But we're especially excited for the apps that are not, let's say that they're aligned between what is Bitcoin apps, that are projects that were born already inside Bitcoin, and some other projects that they were not Bitcoin projects, but they are now understanding what Bitcoin can do for them, and they want to integrate Bitcoin to complement the features that they already have. So we are especially excited for this kind of businesses and applications, because it's one of our goals for 2020, to be able to onboard businesses that didn't hear about Bitcoin before. Also, we want to keep this ecosystem familiar and safe, so every user and, of course, every application that is being part of this ecosystem is going to be verified. It can be any kind of KYC process or whatever is relevant for the process, but we want to keep familiar this ecosystem. About pricing, of course, that's important. We don't think that charging for every transaction or for every payment is the way to go. So we decided three different tiers. One is free, to start experimenting with this technology, of course. You can connect up to 1,000 users and 10,000 API calls. Then we have the startup pack. You have 5,000 users or up to 50,000 API calls. If you grow, you become a pro. You have access to 20,000 users or 200,000 API calls, and all that just for $300 per month. And trust me that this is really, really cheap, considering all the infrastructure that you don't have to build, all the knowledge and all the professionals that you have to be paying every month just to take care of the Bitcoin part. And if you are really successful and you grow more than that, of course, you just have to contact us and we will find a customized plan for you. Also, I want to announce, for this year, for every application that is integrating Connect, they will get a 50% off for the next 2 years. So if you want to get started and you already have any idea and what you want to build, just go to connect.handcash.io and get started to create the next big thing. Just before finishing, I want to thank our partners, Unbounded Capital, Two Hopes, and of course, Ainchain and CoinGeek. That's all from my end. I hope I didn't waste your time, so thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.